is up, guys? We are coming in hot and bothered after an astonishing finish in the first round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. Shout out this Indiana Pacers, New York Knicks rivalry that 80-90% of contemporary NBA fans don't even know anything about, because all of the people that do have no patience for threes and just want to see enormously large men beat the snot out of each other like it is the UFC and just make middies. This is the start of something new. Coming into the actual series, it was pretty easy to tell that this was going to be really memorable because the teams themselves are incredibly well matched. Literally played each other last year in the postseason. Obviously, one of them, Indiana, had basically brought back its entire team, which Haliburton acknowledged post-game as an enormous component of why they are so effective in crunch time. The Knicks, of course, overhauled a lot of their roster. No Nova Knicks, but in with Mikal. Obviously got Cat like during training camp. OG can walk now, so that is pretty cool. The Brunson and Haliburton weird WWE thing. Talk about old people and what the fuck they care to find entertaining, I guess. But this is all around an incredible game, and I thought a lot of both teams' strengths were on full display here. So without further ado, let's jump into it. But first, thank you so much for watching. It really means the world. Indiana gets out to a fast start. This is how they really make their mark on a lot of games. Common thread, they play super fast and a great space game. Virtually everybody that they play is capable of shooting from the perimeter. Maybe not Thomas Bryant, actually, I take that back. 9 or 10 deep, just like the Thunder. And interestingly enough, it's weird, there is some Fire Nation, Water Nation type of contrapositive going on between them and OKC, where I genuinely feel like almost anybody that the Pacers roll out on the floor can make really clutch, timely, and high level of difficulty shots, but you go to Oklahoma City and it's the complete opposite. They can just lock up virtually anybody that you yourself roll out. The Knicks, of course, battle back in Madison Square Garden. That was absolutely rocking for its first conference finals appearance this century. Offensive rebounds and fouls are a huge swing factor in making up the margins in a lot of playoff series to begin with. But when you are playing the Tom Thibodeau New York Knicks, it is primacy to get a handle on Mitchell Robinson, the offensive glass. Indiana was simply having a deer in the headlights type of stretch in that quarter that I think a lot of people have really grappled onto mentally, coming off of their series against the Celtics, infamously choking away their own playoff games in that series. Thankfully for them, Jalen Brunson gets in some foul trouble, and you fast forward to the fourth quarter. Tom Thibodeau actually starts Jalen Brunson with 4 fouls, and then about 90 seconds into the period, Brunson gets his 5th foul, getting him a front row courtside seat. But somehow, some way, the Knicks go on a 10-0 run, and this is truly where the despair starts to set in if you are Indiana. With Brunson on the bench, OG Anunoby just decides to be Kobe Bryant for about 2 plays every game, and then just never ever displays or even attempts any of these shots ever again. McBride comes in and plays great minutes. Robinson, of course, is coming back in and making the exact same imprint as that. Then really wore down from the Pacers style of play in their own offensive production, giving up some turnovers and not generating great looks, not doing what they had been doing for most of the game with boards and the like. But most importantly, of course, is allowing none other than Aaron Joshua Nesmith to get 1 or 2 threes to fall. Without question, the most miraculous comeback of the playoffs, probably the decade, probably the century. I have no fucking idea. It's past my bedtime. The Indiana Pacers were down 15 points with just under 5 minutes left in this game, and Aaron fucking Nesmith scores 20 points by himself in the final 5 minutes of regulation. 6 for 6 from 3 and 2 of 2 from the free throw line. Haliburton chips in 6 points on 2 of 2 field goals, 1 of 2 free throws. Siakam just 1 point, 0 of 1 field goals, and 1 of 2 from the charity stripe, but 1 enormous steal as well. I'll get to Haliburton's shot in a second. I do think that a very underrated component of this comeback was that really critical challenge that the Pacers won. The fact that Carlisle sat on that challenge to get the call reversed and wipe Siakam's contest clean literally saved them this game, because obviously, again, they needed every single second. Aaron Nesmith absolutely erupts, and again, connecting to the Knicks wearing down, he was getting relatively open threes deep into this absolutely volcanic performance, because again, the Pacers thrive on space and relocation. Literally did not have the legs to get him in to get a good enough contest on quick twitch passes and decision making that obviously is oriented around getting the ultra white hot guy the ball. When Carlisle was asked about this eruption post game, he began his response by pointing and giving accolades to Ben Shepherd, really their like 8th, 9th, 10th guy some nights, for coming in at the start of the 4th quarter to give Nesmith a rest and giving really solid minutes. This allowed Nesmith to come into the game with his legs underneath him and position that into fruition. And so the incredible resolve as a team, the unbelievable flammability from beyond the arc by Nesmith, the hard-headed stubbornness of Carlisle to clutch onto that coach's challenge for literally the most essential call of the game to then in fact get the overturn and put it to perfect use. And then of course we have none other than Tyrese Haliburton coming up massively with that last second shot, giving us this wonderful rendition of Reggie Miller's infamous choking signal. 2 things about that to spotlight. 1, the fact that Reggie Miller was on the call honestly made this kind of sick. 2, the speed with which Haliburton had this busted out. I think he had this shit locked in, loaded in the fucking chamber for an opportunity like this. Turnaround spin shot, just like how he iced the Cavaliers last round. Have that insane bounce going straight up and then straight down. Gave him some extra time to think about a celebration should it go through. I'm not gonna lie, as a relatively impartial observer but ardent NBA fan, that would have been fucking raw if that shit had counted as 3 points. You go through this mental Rolodex or process flow of shot up, went up so fucking high that like you have enough time to question your own morality and the existential weight that is riding on the outcome of this shot, to have it fall and then have the crowd react, and then the camera just immediately fucking goes to Haliburton, who kind of fucking kills it. Again, had this loaded in the chamber, I swear to fucking God, I will not believe anything anybody says. It was kind of cinematically orchestrated and expertly executed. So, and then you get into overtime where, again, you are the Pacers. You really have all of this momentum having miraculously forced this overtime, and not to mention at this point, Haliburton was about half a shoe size away from ending the game in the first place, not to mention the entire wearing them down and yada yada. I tweeted out that overtime between these two teams was two piss drunks playing slapbox at a NASCAR tailgate. Nobody could defend anybody, and you have the reigning clutch player of the year in Jalen Brunson sparring off with an entire stable of rabid and relentless and really just never tired Indiana Pacers team, because again, that's all they do is like train for cross country. You eventually get a series of mistakes on the Knicks end that I really think underpin that notion of the Pacers style of play. Everything is in transition. Everybody's always relocating and probing for open space. Everybody is kind of aware and hive-minded. Again, pretty fucking similar to Oklahoma City on defense. They are so connected and understanding of where everybody is going to be and all of those things. It is so fascinating to think about them potentially playing. Josh Hart losing track of Andrew Nembhard on a cut to go up, basically right in front of the basket. Nobody boxes out Obi Toppin for an enormously impactful putback dunk from the weak side off of a missed three. Very bizarre display of defensive paralysis on the Knicks end with Indy inbounding the ball, and basically Obi Toppin gets a red carpet to the rim with somehow two guys on the inbounder. In the two final moments of the game, the Knicks have to score a three to tie. Jalen Brunson airballs a three, to which I believe it was Josh Hart corrals it and then gets a kick out to a relatively open Karl Anthony Towns. Granted, 27, maybe 28 feet. We're all well aware that Karl Anthony Towns is more than capable of hitting that shot, but he also front rims it. So if you are not attentive enough to box out their best putback guy and you're losing track of guys cutting in front of the rim, you have no idea what your defensive coverage scheme is on a crucial out of bounds play for your opponent, and then you are airballing threes to try and send the game into double OT. I don't know in what world you can possibly not point to fatigue playing a lot more resolve and overarching commitment to their identity of play. And should this series go longer and longer, and even within the game context themselves go into overtime again, this is just so reminiscent of the Oklahoma City Thunder, where they are going to wear you the fuck out eventually. Not even necessarily a shot at Tom Thibodeau's notoriously short rotations. It's baked into the model and the framework at play here. They want you to beat the shit out of yourself, run you into the ground, get you frustrated with easy scores or a lot of missed shots if you're OKC, to then again win at the finish line. I just don't think the Knicks are going to be able to last throughout this series in a pretty similar fashion to the Timberwolves. Unfortunately, this exact style of win, not just losing the first game at home in the conference finals, has to conjure so much confidence for them going forward. And the fact that it was Nesmith, aka a role player, really catching fire, I just couldn't help but come away feeling a lot more confidence about that pick as well. All right, guys, thank you so much again for watching, and until next time.